And to help us break down the legal significance of the latest testimonies in the impeachment trial, we are now joined by former IBP President Attorney Domingo Cayosa. Good morning, Attorney. Welcome back to Morning Matters.
Good morning.
Good morning, Angela, Pauline, and Cheska. Magandang umaga po sa ating mga kababayan.
All right. Well, Attorney, now we're going to be discussing a new article already. Tapos na po tayo sa grave threats. We move on to the misuse of confidential funds. And yesterday, so we saw the testimonies now of the two former branch managers of Land Bank saying there was withdrawal. There were withdrawals amounting to ₱500 million pesos. And they also described it as unusual. Attorney, how important were the testimonies and what was the prosecution able to establish through these?
The testimonies were important in the sense that it establishes na indeed those funds were withdrawn and how they were withdrawn. And I think that's the purpose, to lay the premise for the more important aspect of this charge, which is can the Vice President explain kanino niya binigay yung mga pera at explain niya bakit mali-mali yung mga resibo at fictitious mga pangalan at dinideny ng isang AFP, for example, na tumanggap sila for security or intelligence gathering activity ng pera mula sa Vice President o sa DepEd o OVP. That's the more important part of this charge. But of course, it is logical, it is proper for the prosecution to lay the premise na indeed, withdraw ito. I think ang added value lang nito for the people to realize, and all of us, including perhaps some of the lawmakers, na napakadali pa lang maglabas ng limpak-limpak na salapi ng tao. Kaya isang tawag lang. Their characterization na unusual ito, siguro is in layman's terms lang, na unusual in the sense na number one, normally sa mga government transactions, the release of the funds is done by check, identified yung recipient at merong mga supporting documents at yan ide-deposito nung check ang tatanggapin nung payee, contractor, supplier, or anybody who has rendered service or value or product to the government. At ide-deposito yan. This is unusual because it's a huge amount of money at ang tumatanggap yung isang lower ranking official lang. It is also unusual in the sense na every 3 months merong ganitong transaction. Hindi ito isolated transaction at ituhan kumbaga. It's also unusual in the sense na kinuha nga na cash at kinarga na lang sa mga bags ng mga tauhan ng Vice President o yung mga empleyado niya. So, I think even by that time, they already perhaps suspected na either confidential fund or intelligence fund ito because that's not how it is done in other regular transactions of government. So, that's the only purpose. Sa totoo, if both parties, the defense and the prosecution agreed, pwede na sanang in-stipulate ito because ang kwento lang ng mga managers is the usual operating procedure ng isang buo.
Right. Oo. Well, that is why the defense, di ba, hindi na po sila nag-cross-examine. Pero, Attorney, my question here is how significant is the two witnesses' testimonies that actually corroborated with Ramil Madriaga's claims from how many bags were used, the colors of the bag, diba? The color of the bags, and even the timestamp on when the money was withdrawn.
That's the more important aspect of this. Kasi nga, we have another unrelated witness, which is Ramil Madriaga, allegedly, na nagbibigay ng detalye. So titignan ngayon ng prosecution at tayo din mga hukom at taong bayan, nagkakatugma ba yung timeline, yung mga amounts, paano nagawa. Kasi kung magkatugma at hindi naman magkakilala itong si Ramil Madriaga at itong mga managers, wala silang relasyon, di ba? Ay maaring credible o kapanipaniwala yung testimonya ni Ramil Madriaga despite the fact na he is accused of many crimes, nakakulong siya, that those doubts will be overcome kung there is may convergence yung mga detalye. I think that's the bigger purpose here and the more important value of this testimony and the details of the transaction.
But attorney, does unusual automatically equate to illegal or a wrongdoing? And even if the prosecution established already that there were withdrawals of large sums of cash, what additional link does the prosecution still need to establish that there was misuse of confidential funds?
Well, number one, kung yung testimonya ni Madriaga, kung totoo yun na pagkakuha sa bangko, dinala sa ombudsman, dinala sa ibang mga lugar, na hindi naman dun sa mga kine-claim nila na intelligence gathering activities. So, importante yon. And then, kasi nga, meron ng ebidensya ng mga peking Mary Grace Piatos receipts and similar kinds of receipts. Meron ng ebidensya na yung maraming resibo, iba-ibang tao, pero iisa lang ang gumagawa ng mga pirma. Meron na ring pag-aamin yung mga undersecretaries and high government officials ng DepEd, nakakatanggap sila ng mga cash in envelopes. And then yung AFP din, meron silang pinasinungalingan na dineclare ng Office of the Vice President na yung activity daw nila ang pinondohan nila, pero meron silang certification na hindi sila tumanggap. Meron silang sariling budget for that. So, kailangan magkakatugma lahat ito so that malinaw na misuse of funds. Malinaw na yung withdraw na pera hindi ginamit for intelligence gathering or for security purposes at yung gawa-gawa na lang yung mga supporting evidence or proof of payouts para pagtakpan yung pagkuha ng pera. Importante rin dito yung COA kasi meron ng finding yung COA na mukhang hindi tama nga yung paggamit, kulang-kulang yung mga documentary support.
Well, Senator Ping Lacson interjected yesterday that neither the prosecution or the defense is presenting a competent witness. He even suggested that to get a retired intelligence officer to somehow shed light on the process of how the funds are being disbursed pagdating sa confidential funds. So do you agree with that, attorney?
Well, competent naman yung mga managers to testify in their own turf, di ba? And Madriaga would be competent kung nagsasabi siya ng totoo doon sa talagang personal na alam niya. So, each witness can be competent in his own sphere, yung alam talaga niya. But Senator Lacson makes a good point. And I suppose the prosecutors can learn from what he said. And perhaps yun nga, sabi nila, mabilis silang kumambyo, meron pa kaming mga additional witnesses. Why is that important? Kasi yung mga talagang legitimate intelligence agencies that are legally entitled to intelligence funds, meron silang mga usual process. At malamang alam din yan ng COA. COA could be competent to testify on that. Kasi yan, usually, per project basis. Ito kasi, every 3 months, bultuhan eh.
Yun nga eh.
So, yun, i-contrast nila, ito yung legit na intelligence activities by legitimate intelligence agencies. Ibang-iba dun sa ginagawa ng OVP at saka DepEd. Kasi nga naman, wala namang intelligence gathering responsibility yung Office of the Vice President or the DepEd Secretary. Kaya nakakapagtaka din na bakit binigyan ng Office of the President ito ng intelligence funds, di ba? Which, if you look at the DBM circular and COA circular, only those who have security or intelligence gathering activities ang pwedeng partihan ng intelligence fund ng sino man. So yun, ipapakita yung contrast na one. And the Office of the President should also explain anong basihan, bakit nagbigay kayo kasi dyan. Of course, yung maling paggamit, wala naman dun sa Office of the President. Nasa Office ng Vice President o DepEd Secretary. They have a duty to explain unfortunately, in their answer to the complaint kasi, puro pag-iiwas hindi nila inexplain doon. So, malaki ang burden nila later on. But again, the prosecution should be very thorough because they cannot rely on the weakness of the explanation of the Vice President. They have to prove their own case.
Pero for you, attorney, what do you think is the central question that the impeachment court must answer under this particular article? Because I remember for the previous one, the grave threats, people were asking, did the Vice President really contract an assassin? Sino yung hitman? But the prosecution was emphasizing also, no, the mere utterance of these threats already constitute betrayal of public trust. So for this article on misuse of confidential funds, kailangan pa ba patunayan ng prosecution that the Vice President benefited from these funds?
No, they don't have to do that. What they can do only is to show that lumabas yung pera, it's supposed to be for intelligence gathering activities, at yung sinubmit nila na supporting documents to prove that indeed these were used for intelligence gathering activities, peke. Peke yung mga taong tumanggap, they don't exist, peke yung mga resibo, yung mga sinasabihang agency na binigyan nila and their particular activities na pinondohan nila, hindi naman pala kasi meron silang sariling pera. Yun lang ang kinakailangang ipatunayan nila. Because if you cannot explain and properly document the disbursement of public funds or the use of public funds na winidraw mo, ang presumption of course, kinuha mo yon, ginamit mo sa iba. Yun, krimen yun.
Okay, so the defense, go ahead, may dadagdag po kayo?
They don't have to, for example, they don't have to prove na yung perang winidraw, dineposito niya sa sariling bangko niya. Yung pera dinala sa bahay,
Personal.
hindi ko naman yun It's the accountability. Tumanggap ka, nag-withdraw ka ng public funds, it is your duty to properly account for it and document it. Kung hindi mo magawa yan, ang presumption, guilty ka dun sa charge of malversation, dun sa charge of yung pagwaldas sa pera ng bayan.
Okay, so ang depensa po, ang kanilang sinasabi po lagi pagdating sa usapin ng confidential funds ay ang aliases daw po ay normal lang yan sa mga intelligence work. But of course, we have been discussing that sinasabi nga po nila that intelligence are allowed or intelligence operations are allowed to use aliases or codes so long that meron pong paper trail dapat. And yun nga po, to your point kanina, doon sa COA DBM joint circular, dapat po talaga may ganoon na nilalagay kung sino yung mga nandoon sa operation na intelligence operation rather. So ngayon po, how important is that the prosecution mapakita po in the trial na wala pong joint DBM circular or wala pong paper trail na ganon ang prosecution?
Well, mukhang meron ng ebidensya kung maalala natin dun sa Quadcom, di ba? Pag-iimbestigan ng congressman noon and then dun sa Justice Committee nung second round ng impeachment proceeding. Meron na kasing mga pag-aamin at mga testigo. Meron ng report yung mga handwriting expert na iba-ibang tao nakalagay sa pangalan ng resibo. Pero yung pumipirma para sa kanilang lahat, iisang kamay. Doon pa lang talagang mali na yon, di ba? Meron ding yung mga pangalan na ginamit, they don't really exist. So these are fictitious name. Now, kung sabihin nila, hindi, sinekreto namin, di ngayon palabasin nila kung sino mga yan. If they are really spies or agents na secret agents, kumbaga, di gawin nilang executive session. Patayuin nila ngayon. Because, the fact na confidential fund yan, intelligence fund, hindi totoo na hindi pwedeng malaman kung kanino binigay yan.
Right.
Kasi kung yan ang patakaran, yan ang batas, pag binigyan ka ng intelligence fund, pwede mo nang ibulsa lahat hindi ganun. Na-audit din yan, responsibility. That's a false narrative. That's,
right.
Just a lie and a propaganda na gustong paniniwalaan ng taong bayan. So maganda na tinatalakay ninyo sa mass media para ipaliwanag na hindi totoo yan. May responsibilidad pa rin silang mag-account at merong kapangyarihan at kinakailangan tukuyin pa rin kung meron ba talagang pinagbigyan o sabi-sabi nyo lang. Kasi kung ganon, ibig sabihin, binulsa nyo yung pera.
All right, Attorney, well, before we let you go, we also wanted to get your thoughts doon sa naging opening statement kahapon ng prosecution led by Congresswoman Laila De Lima, because in the midst of her opening statement, the defense objected and the presiding officer also warned her not to delve into conclusions of fact and law, and eventually the Congresswoman was asked to stop. Tama po ba yung naging desisyon ni presiding officer kahapon to draw the line?
Tama ho naman. At unfair din sa defense yan. At maganda rin nag-object agad si Attorney Poa. Kaya lang talagang makulit si Congresswoman De Lima hindi siya maawat. Kaya tama lang, pinahinto na lang siya because it is also damaging. Because basic ho naman sa rules ng litigation, whether in the impeachment court or in any other court, the job of a prosecutor or a defense counsel, ilatag yung ebidensya, period. You don't make conclusions of law or conclusions of fact. That is for the court to do, hindi ikaw. So, dahil nakikinig ang buong sambayan ng Pilipino dito, it's a public trial, kung minsan, kanya-kanyang singit ang magkabilang panig ng mga conclusions of law and conclusions of fact para makondisyon yung paniniwala ng taong bayan. Bawal ho yun. So, it's correct na pinigilan siya. Sana nga mas in charge yung Senate as a whole and the presiding officer para hindi maulit ito. Kasi nga, they keep on violating the rules of the impeachment court. Pati nga yung mga press conferences nila na violative of the sub judice rules, Section 18 ng Senado, kanya-kanyang violation ng magkabilang panig. Lalong-lalo na yung mga senador judges themselves. Sila yung nangungunang nagbabiolate ng mga rules nila. Hindi nakakatulong yan to maintain credibility of the impeachment process.
All right. Well, as always, thank you very much for sharing your time and your insights with us. That was Attorney Domingo Cayosa, former IBP president. Thank you, Attorney.
Thank you.